Mama taile bom, mama taile bom, bomo, bomo. Mama taile bom, mama taile bom, bomo, bomo. Ke tsogile phakela tota ga ke a tsoga ke setswe ka dira phapara ka tsa umang ke monna ka sianela mmerekong ka nte ke lebetse dio dingwe kwa mora ke tsene ko ke le mathagataga ke ntse lekau kgankgolo ke gore maabane ke ne ke kopane le ntšhadi ka kgaupediwa ke go utlwa mongwampitsa a nthare raetsho mosadi wa go bata mo mogaleng ka ipopota dipata ka hitela mosokela tsebeng o sewo mogala makapa mosadi a nthare rabo mogala teng kwano ke o tshotse banna ka utlwa ka re nkare lehatse ga toga ke tse ka itse gore ga ntšha e kgologolo go a bo go simologile o thaile bomo mmabo thaile bomo 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 ka utlwa ke huhula matampo tsa gore huhula jang go le tsididi ka utlwa le sehatego se se pakoga pelo itaita jaaka o kare ya namane ja lereme ke ipotsa gore ana ke talala ke wetse lapeng ga ke akanya lapeng ka bona hela gore ke tabo ke le moiphatakanyi ka gore ko lapeng kwa mabobele sengwanyana o nthaisitse o thaile bomo mmabo thaile bomo o thaile bomo mmabo thaile bomo o thaile bomo mmabo thaile bomo yone bomo mmabo thaile bomo kana mme ke buile le ntšhadi gore a se ka nna letse e ta re ka nako nngwe ka sewelo ke ta mo thola ke ta mo lekola ke ipotsa gore jaanong motseto hapogile marago ga kae o buile le mabo a moaraba ka maitseo ao banna we nthusa lwa re ke dire jang borra we nthusa mano ga setite ka gore kwa lapeng kwa mmisa e le go nkemetse te banna a le bata go ntha le re ga e sule ke iphatakanye o thaile bomo mmabo thaile bomo 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 a ke bua yana nako e roba bongwe nka bo ke sale ke tšhaisitse ka nako ya bone ke ntse ke hana modisa di ka go lena a re mesta nako e tšhaile ke bata go bereka ga e le gore ga wa fetsa o ka boa mogola ka moso wa bereka monna ke o wa ntsholola ka nte gare a re banna ga ba latane ya nna o ka reng ka mo ya nna o ka reng ka mo ka gore kwa lapeng kwa go dibomo kwa lapeng kwa go dibomo o thaile bomo mmabo thaile bomo o taile bomo, mavo taile bomo, o taile bomo, mavo taile bomo. Mavo taile bomo, mavo taile bomo, mavo taile bomo, mavo taile bomo. Bomo, 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 bomo. Mavo taile bomo, mavo taile bomo, mavo taile bomo.
Thank you very much, Rush Logic, for that sweet melodies. You can give them a round of applause, please. Those of you who started with this conference would know the mantra. The mantra is that many are called, but few are chosen. That came right from the Vice President of the Republic when he was making the introductions of guests. At this juncture, ladies and gentlemen, I recognize the presence of Her Excellency, Dr. Beatriz Antonia Manuel de Moraes, the Angolan ambassador to Botswana, a special representative of SADC, and also the Dean of the Diplomatic Corps. I recognize His Worship the Mayor, the President of NANDRI, Advocate Joseph Whittle, the President of AOMA, the former President of AOMA, the representative of the Commonwealth, a Senior Advisor, Dr. Koranteng, Honorable Ombudspersons and visiting heads of oversight institutions here present, all permanent secretaries here present, and the CEOs who are here, and all district commissioners, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Thank you very much. That sounds like the people I expected to be here. My name is Ramatloto Silei, and I am honored and privileged to be your program director this evening. As you all are aware, we have started, we are running behind time already, and therefore, without further ado, I will invite the Honorable Advocate Stephen Tiruakhosi, the Ombudsman of the Republic of Botswana, to come here and give us welcome remarks.
Thank you. Thank you, Director of Ceremonies. Those that know me know that I tend to make tongue-in-cheek jokes. I'm going to avoid doing that. I saw a young lady here who says actually make very staid and dry jokes. in a manner of speaking, it was supposed to be a compliment to me. Ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor and a privilege to have all of you gathered here. The ladies obviously well turned out. I am pleased to be standing before you today as the host. Today marks the end, if one may say, of a journey that started when I was barely 6 weeks into office as Ombudsman in December 2022, when I met Professor Ayeni in London. We had a discussion about hosting the expo. Spent months, a few months talking about it, 3-4 months talking about it. I approached the government of the Republic of Botswana to facilitate us in hosting this expo. See, when you talk to the government of Botswana, they talk in a very formal way. So they said, okay, write a CAB memo. A CAB memo is a very intricate document that you write to the president, telling him that I want to do A, B, C, D. Please authorize me and others to do this thing. But the important of it is that once you've got it, then you'll get money. I asked for so much money from the government, and the government slashed my request by almost 50%. And they said, see how you do this thing of yours. But I think most importantly, it was that once we had that authorization to go ahead, it almost opened gateways to all facilities that we would seek from the government. Ladies and gentlemen, the formal part of the program is over. Tonight is going to be the night to have fun. But let there be a caveat. Those that expect to see me dancing, I don't dance. Least of all in public. I'm going to say something almost offensive. It is said that I dance like a knock-kneed white man. So don't expect me to see, I think Mr. Lubinda, the peers from the ministry will open the dance floor when time comes. As I said, the journey started in December 2022. We had 2 sets of organizing committees, one led by Professor Ayeni in London, the GMSI group, and another led by a very hardworking lady. I don't know whether she's here. Okay, Malina. The Deputy Ombudsman, Mrs. Dudulina, put this thing together. She and her team worked very, very hard to make sure that whatever agreements they were having with Professor Ayeni in London were being actualized on the ground. So I believe that it is only right that we put our hands together for Malinaing. And her team. Because I don't know, if I don't mention her team, they will kill me first thing tomorrow morning. I hope that the expo has met your expectations. There was a time when I wondered if we were going to have even a third of this room attending the expo. both Malinang and Professor Yeni would not give me any information. I asked, how many people do we have coming in? Should we cancel this thing? They said to me, "Lucy, you go about your business." My business was to talk to the public, engage stakeholders across the Ombuds practice. I traveled the breadth and width of this country. I visited a few countries. I spoke at conferences to attract you ladies and gentlemen that are gathered here today. And I must say that being the humble person that I am, if I may say so, my humility has been raised to the highest levels by your coming here. So I believe that you also need to give yourself a round of applause for making me so humbled in your graciousness, but also in the level of engagements that we have put together for the past 3 days. One of the scariest moments of getting this thing together was that, will we get the official opening running as the way I think it should come out? And once we had it running, once we had buses and vehicles picking up people from the airport from Thursday, I could sleep peacefully without worrying as to whether we'll have the expo. The expo has been a myriad of discussions. Colleagues from across the broad spectrum of oversight and public regulatory bodies have been superb. Getting people to Gaborone, I think, was a nightmare in some instance. At some point, I lost the Ombudsman of Namibia, because the last time we spoke was at around 9 a.m. when he sent me, on Sunday 9 a.m. when he sent me a message. He says, "I'm at the border." And then he disappeared for like 9 hours on the road. That is, he traveled 1,200 kilometers by road to get here. These are the kind of things that I say make me feel very humble. Colleagues have traveled all the way from the Caribbean and other places. I am happy to say, I am happy that you traveled that way. Ladies and gentlemen, typically, when you give me a speech, Oscar, you know I will not read the speech. You know. What I've ever said here is not what I was told to say. It's what I wanted to say from the bottom of my heart. I almost said something, the reverse. Now, I had a boss, we had a joke. We would normally say, "From the heart of my bottom." Ngubula, I promise that I won't say the silly jokes that you know me about. But ladies and gentlemen, please feel welcome to this dinner. But most importantly, I hope that when you leave here, you will travel back to your destinations safely and securely. And once again, I say thank you and have a pleasant evening.
Thank you very much, Ombudsman. There's a slight change to the program. We were supposed to have a special guest's remarks, but what we shall have instead is a musical interlude, And while you are still enjoying that musical piece, we'll make it certain that the Ombudsman doesn't just hope that this conference has met your expectations, because we shall send across this room feedback forms that would expect you to quickly jot down what you felt about and give us feedback on this conference. In the meantime, I'll call the band to come on stage for a musical interlude. And Prof, have your people send in the forms across. Thank you.
Illusions imprison the thoughts in my head.
Thank you very much. The artist that was on stage is called Dato Sieko. Give her a round of applause, please. A young person doing her own thing. Very impressive. I would like you to give a round of applause for Dato Sieko for her musical interlude. Thank you very much. Also, before I proceed, if you remember the Ombudsman earlier on the Ombudsman talked about a certain lady who is the Deputy Ombudsman and said she put hard work together with her team. I cast my eyes across this room and I see her. So I would like her to stand so that this multitude that I see here could give her an applause. Medudu Linaing, can you please stand up, please? Where is she? Ah, there she is. Please come this side. Please come this way so that they can see you. This way, please. I beg you. Yeah, you can take your cameras and shoot pictures. This is Duduba Solinaing. She's the Deputy Ombudsman of the Republic, and she's the one with her team. Some of the team members, can you kindly stand that way in the team so that they can see you too? Please. Oscar, you can't be seated, please. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Now we shall proceed with the very entertaining aspect of this program. We are going to have reflections from some participants. And the first participant that I'm going to be calling over to the stage is Honorable Grace Tikambenje Malera, who is the Ombudsman of the Republic of Malawi from Lulonga, Malawi. Please.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The Honorable Advocate Stephen Trai Kosi, Ombudsman of Botswana, His Worship Austin Abraham, Mayor of Gaborone City, Professor Victor Ayeni, Director, GMSI UK, Honorable Frobela Araujo, Ombudsman of Angola and President of Ioma. I also recognize the presence of Mr. Wito, the President of the Network of National Human Rights Institutions, fellow Ombudsman here present, heads of oversight institutions, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, members of the press. I am honored this evening to share some reflections and thoughts on the expo that we have just had. But before I go there, I thought I would start off sharing my reflections by some remarkable quotes that I observed during the week, the 4 days that we have been here. The first one, I think, was said by the Ombudsman of Botswana, that Gaborone is a small city with a big heart and humble people. And I can attest to the fact that these last 3 days, we have indeed experienced that Gaborone is a city with a big heart and really humble people. We have felt the warmth, such that even though some of us experienced some glitches here and there during the first day, particularly with the accreditation, but the courtesy with which the people handled us with smiles on their faces, didn't make us experience those challenges to a great magnitude. There was also a quote of a statement that I think the Ombudsman made when he said that this forum should allow us to mix business and pleasure. I think for the last 3 days, we have really seen the business part of this. Last evening, we saw the pleasure part of this, and one hopes that it is going to continue tomorrow when we go for the excursions. Another quote that I would like to end with is what the Vice President said during the opening ceremony, when he said that there is a saying in the Tswana language, which English equivalent is, "You are free to say what you want to say." And I think for the last 3 days, through the parallel workshop sessions, we have indeed been a very free people that were able to say what we wanted to say and also offer constructive criticism to each other. I am therefore greatly honored to have been given the opportunity to share with you some reflections on this incredible and immensely rewarding second International Ombuds Expo 2024. Before I get to the few observations that I would like to share with you all, allow me to first express profound gratitude to our host and the main organizer, the Ombudsman of the Republic of Botswana, and your entire team. I'm immensely pleased to also note that behind this great and successful expo, there was a woman on the steering ship, the one that came to the podium. I think this only goes to show that women, when women are given leadership positions, they can deliver just as men do, and sometimes even better. I would also like to recognize the enormous contribution that Prof. Victor Aeni and his team have put into the organizing of this expo. Receive our profound gratitude. I would also like to acknowledge all the organizations that have participated in this expo. You've really made this a very rich experience for all of us. In a special way, I would like to thank the pioneers that were showcased on the opening day. Thank you so much, particularly those that are in the room, for sharing your stories. Ladies and gentlemen, this was my first expo experience of this nature, and I can state without fear of contradiction that it has been very valuable in so many ways and a very positive experience. I believe I'm not speaking for myself when I say that we have learned and experienced firsthand the many different models of Ombuds institutions and the common denominator that defines us all. The presentations that have been shared were informative, insightful, and we have gained hands-on skills. As they say, we came, we saw, and we learned. The peer-to-peer learning has been very meaningful. We've had a diversity of exhibitions of the work that we do in serving the people and the milestones and impact that we continue to make. I must say, the exhibitions have allowed us to share and gain insights and practical aspects of our work. Thanks to the organizers for creating the space that allowed us to do this. In describing my experience and perspectives on the expo, I would like to share what particularly stood out, maybe not only just for me, but for a lot of us in this room. Number one, the expo offered us an unequaled convening of like-minded institutions and space for cross-learning on critical issues such as our critical performance factors and how we can make a difference to the people we serve. We also interacted with some of the pioneers and drew a lot of lessons from them. The one on the peer-to-peer learning, and also the frameworks that govern the work, starting from local statutes to UN mechanisms and mechanisms that are available at the AU level. In the Expo, I think we have been challenged to rethink on our approaches and modes of working. We have explored what's working and what's not working. We've also looked to whether there are any modifications that we need to make to our institution's theory of change. Some of us, a lot of us shared on the legal amendments that we are making to our statutes. We have also shared on how we can strengthen the mechanisms for compliance of our directives. And beyond the legislative interventions, we've also looked at what other approaches we can make to ensure the 100% compliance with our directives. We have teased out the challenges that we face in our respective jurisdictions. And one of the recurring themes has been the issue of growing trends of corruption in our jurisdiction and how maladministration provides a fertile ground for corruption. We have also explored the capacity challenges that our offices are facing. Ladies and gentlemen, as I conclude my reflections, allow me to conclude unequivocally that this Expo has essentially been insightful, it has been inspirational, it has been a marketplace of ideas and a place for sharing best practices and innovative solutions in our work as oversight institutions. Therefore, the second International Ombudsman Expo 2024 should serve as a rallying point for renewed energy and commitment to effectively implement our mandates in whatever form they come in order to sustain our images as trusted institutions and to help us not to relent in our work of fighting the injustices and bolstering quality governance. Allow me to conclude by saying again that we came, we saw, we learned, and we are going back with renewed energies. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you very much, Ombudsman of Malawi. Kindly give her a round of applause, please. Because truly she's telling the truth. She was not just speaking for herself. She speaks about what a lot of us have learned in this conference. There are a few announcements here that I would like to make. There is a table outside there where the delegates that are interested in participating in the excursions tomorrow can register. Just outside there's a desk there. Delegates are also advised that for their departures, transport will pick them up 3 hours before the flight times from their hotels. Transport can be identified by the brand IOE, International Ombudsman Expo. So, delegates, there is a message for yourselves. At this point in time, I will invite Honorable Alan Brooke, who is the pioneer of the Ombudsman of Bermuda. She's also the former director of the International Ombudsman Institute and also the former director of IOC, the African Ombudsman Research Center. Don't mind my papers.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. So protocol has been observed, and the Ombudsman from Malawi indeed spoke for all of us with her lovely remarks that captured the kinds of learning and exchange that we have been having. And so I'm going to use my time to give 2 thank yous and 1 challenge. So first of all, to our host ombudsman, Turo Yakazi, and Deputy Ombudsman, and entire team for your vision in having this extraordinary event, and for the impeccable attention and work that you have put into it. I hear that the planning has been a year and a half, and it shows that you have spent a great deal of time thinking about every little need that all of your visitors would have. And I find the staff absolutely stellar. If you treat complainants the way you have treated us, then you are definitely doing a major and important service to this country. And I'm so glad the Ombudsman is not a stiff and stern person, so I can therefore be a little mischievous at this moment. And I would love to suggest to you that, sir, you may want to do what we did in Bermuda when our staff went above and beyond, and you might give everybody a day off, a paid day off. And now I'd like to thank Dr. Victor Ayeni. For many years, he has insisted that integrity institutions must come together under one umbrella, whether you're private or public, traditional, or with very new mandates. And he lamented the fact that the various integrity and accountability institutions were divided. And so, Victor, for your vision in having the first expo, which I did not attend in Abuja, and for having this second expo and all the expos to come in the future, I want to give you hearty congratulations. Let me note that there is a professor at the University of Sheffield, Dr. Richard Kirkland, who wrote some years ago that for quite some time, most countries and most governments think of having three branches of government: the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary. But he said, you know, there really is a fourth branch of government, and that's the accountability branch, and we should start thinking of it as the fourth branch of government, because we're not executive, we're not legislature, we're not judiciary. We are something else that makes the system and the countries work. And he said, and in fact, delineating this fourth branch of government, at the end of the day, we are really doing what many constitutions have already put into play. And so we might thank Dr. Ayeni again for bringing together ombudsmen, auditors general, police complaints, human rights commissions as this fourth branch in this expo. So now I also would like to go back to something that the Ombudsman for Botswana mentioned a couple of days ago. He talked about how hard it is to be a first ombudsman, and it is hard. First, you have to gain confidence of people who are subject to oversight. They have to know that you're going to be fair. And then you have to earn the credibility of the public. They have to know that you're going to be truly independent. And then you have to sit quietly and not interfere if you feel that your successors are not holding up the high standards you felt that you had set. And so that's always a challenge for me, because I am very rarely quiet. But whether you are the first or subsequent ombudsman, my challenge to you, all of the brilliant brains in this room, is to please think of ways to assist those oversight institution leaders who find themselves in trouble and under threat and in fear of retribution from their governments. We have seen this situation happen in the past year or so in Africa, and it is not fun for someone to put their courage on the line and then to have absolutely no support. Let me retract. The word is not absolutely, but not to have the kind of support that one needs as an escape valve to be able to get away from the threat. We've seen this, and we must do better. I recognize in animated conversations with the Commonwealth Secretariat folks who are here that they are in a conflict of interest situation. But it seems to me that with everyone present, we can figure out a way to help our fellow ombudsmen when they are in trouble. How do you do something that's never been done before? You find a way. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to plead with you to say that while the program is running, we'll ask people to reduce the noise. Noise from that corner over there, the tables on the right. Please lower your voices so that people can hear what is being said this side. Equally so, people on the far left over there, behind those tables, those far tables over there, please, the program is still running. At this point in time, I'll call Dr. Yusopa Nian, who is the ombudsperson and mediator from the UNHCR, to come over, please. Ah, it's you.
Thank you. I know my name is not easy to pronounce, mostly when they write it in French. Thank you, colleagues. I'm here on behalf of two entities. One is the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, and the second one is the International Ombudsman Association. And I'm here with my two colleagues, Zetu, who you know from South Africa, but also Abdul Aziz, who is joining us from the Red Cross and based in Kuwait. I would like first to thank the organizers for the opportunity to invite us and to be part of this International Ombuds Expo. I would like to thank particularly all the Botswana Ombudsman and your team. My first reflection is when we arrive at the airport and how we've been welcomed and how we've been taken care by the protocol from the airport up to the hotels and back and forth. It's very impressive. We participated in many expos and international conferences, and it's not all the time you receive such a level of care and attention. And I think my two sisters, the one from Malawi and the one from Bermuda, they talk about the care and the attention that I think we all felt during this week in Botswana. I would like to thank the protocol team. I think they've been very impressive. Yeah. I was really impressed by their dedications, their care, their attention to details. They've been even doing the security. I like walking, and they was monitoring me so that I don't get lost and nothing happened to me. And that was very nice. So thank you for that. And I think it reflects also maybe the culture in Botswana. I feel like you are in a stress-free country. And I have learned Pula. 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 Thank you for that. It's nice to come for the expo and then to learn from the country and to learn from the culture of the country and to go back with something plus. I'm very grateful for the organizers, for GMSI, and all the partners, all the stakeholders who organized this. At least for one reason, I think it's a unique opportunity to have all the African ombuds and the diaspora and beyond Africa to come to Africa and to reflect on ombudsing. We often talk about ombudsing in Africa, and we start in 1960 in Tanzania. Very few of us know that in the 13th century, there was people in Africa with the function of ombudsman, but of course, not with that name of ombuds, because that ombuds name is a Scandinavian name. But the function of ombudsman is very old in Africa. There was already someone in the 13th century called Bala Faseke, who was appointed by Sunjata Keita to be the ombudsman and to perform the same role we are performing today with the same principles and the same TORs. We need to be proud of that. We need to be really proud of that and know that this is not a new concept to us, to the continent, and to the black community. This is something that we have for many, many centuries. And we have to teach the world what is ombudsing. I would like to thank the organizers for this opportunity so that we meet together and we learn. But we are ombudsman. I'm an ombudsman. And as ombudsman, we do systemic. We learn from systems. We do systemic learning. And my reflection today will be the reflection of the ombudsman on the systemic issues. Because those help us for the third, inshallah, the third expo, to learn from the second expo and to be much better. So my reflection on the second expo, there's no work that is perfect. They all can be improved. And if I had to improve something or to point directions on where we can improve on the systemic issues, one, which is always a challenge, mostly when you have to organize a big event like this that is really complex, to put hundreds of people from different horizons, with the beauty of putting together different aspects of ombudsing, because in many conferences you have just one sector of ombudsing. Here we've been transversally across all the sectors of ombudsing, and that's the difficulty. So communication for me is a challenge. So if the communication can be improved, I think that will be excellent, and the next one will be much better than this one. This one is already very good, but we're always looking for the excellency, and communication is always a challenge. And that communication, if it could be proactive, even before coming here, but also communication in terms of helping people to find the information, that's going to be very, very helpful. The second things I would like to see in the next expo is to invite more universities, to invite more libraries, and to come and to have their stands so that we can learn. We can get books, we can get academics to come and to expo, to have their stands, and we can get more knowledge from that. And as you said, from Malawi, we come, we see, we learn, and we take it back. The third systemic directions, because we are ombuds, we need to break certain rules. We need to break certain rules, and we need to walk the talk, yes. And one thing that I think like we need to break, there's too much of division in how we organize things. We have delegates in one side, we have others in other side, we have these people in one side, even in the restaurant. We can avoid that. This is the unique opportunity for me to learn from everybody here in the room. Let's organize the space in a way that the knowledge can flow regardless of who you are, in which position you are holding. That's what is the beauty of going to international conferences and expo. And I think that we need to break it, mostly if you are ombuds. Because we are informal. We are informal. We are not formal. We are informal, right? The last things I want you to highlight that I think also will help us to improve. We will have to improve a little bit the sessions, the parallel sessions, so that they attract the maximum of people. And before that, when the parallel session will happen, the plenary needs to be closed. Otherwise, the parallel session will suffer from the plenary session. I mean, from the parallel session happening in the plenary room, it kills the other sessions. So thank you for that. And Pula,
Thank you very much, Doc, for those insights that you shared with us. But now I will call on Samba Bajay from the Smiling Coast of Africa, the Gambia, the Deputy Ombudsman. I understand they are friendly people and ever smiling. That's why they're called the Smiling Coast of Africa.
Thank you.
There you are, my brother.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Please permit me to stand on the existing protocols. Mine is a very difficult task, having heard the previous speakers said almost everything I wanted to say. That notwithstanding, may I give special thanks to the Ombudsman of Botswana and team, Professor Aini with team, for a wonderful and remarkable organization of the Ombuds Expo. The Ombuds Expo, which took place from Monday to date, was a remarkable event showcasing a wide array of ombudsman activities and exhibitions. The first day witnessed the event kicking off with a vibrant opening ceremony that set the tone for the days ahead. Keynote speeches by prominent ombudsmen and industry leaders emphasized the importance of the ombudsman role and advocating for fairness, transparency, and accountability. The opening day also featured the introductory sessions that provided an overview of the diverse functions and responsibilities of ombudsmen across different sectors. And it also marked the beginning of exhibitions. Various speakers highlighted the challenges and successes in areas such as investigation, mediation, and the normal ombudsman activities. Case studies were presented offering valuable insights into the practical application of Ombudsman principles. Attendees, including my humble self, were particularly impressed by a session on the use of technology in enhancing the efficiency and accessibility of Ombudsman services. On the exhibition and interactive sessions, numerous booths showcased innovative tools and resources used by ombudsmen to handle complaints and resolve disputes. Attendees had the opportunity to engage with exhibitors, ask questions, and even participate in live demonstrations in some instances. Interactive workshops providing practical knowledge that participants could apply in their own roles. I don't know how many of you visited the Gambian stand or the Gambian booth. If you haven't, I can assure you, you have missed a lot. It was one of the booths that somebody, because of what she saw, left her car keys with us. So that tells you how fascinating the booth was. Attendees shared their personal takeaways and discussed how they could implement new strategies and approaches in their respective organizations. The event was one allowing participants to build connections, share experiences, and foster collaborative relationships for the future. Overall, the Ombuds Expo was an invaluable experience for all who attended. It provided a comprehensive platform for learning, sharing, and networking, which reinforced the critical role of Ombudsman in promoting fairness and justice. The blend of presentations, exhibitions, and interactive sessions ensured that there was something for everyone, whether they were seasoned professionals or newcomers in the field. The look forward, it is clear that the insights and connections gained from this expo will have lasting impact on the Ombudsman community. The emphasis on innovation, technology, and best practices will undoubtedly shape the future of Ombudsman activities, leading to more efficient and effective service delivery. The Ombuds Expo 2024 has set a high standard for future events, and participants are already looking forward to the next gathering. Overall, the Ombuds Expo was a resounding success, leaving attendees inspired and equipped to enhance their work in promoting fairness and resolving disputes. Once again, I want to thank all the organizers, those who were at the fore and those who were behind the scenes, for a job well done. Thank you for making us feel home away from home. I thank you all.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think he's spot on in saying that we all learned a great deal in this expo, and that we are, in fact, looking forward to the next one. I am packing my bags. I think the next destination will be somewhere in the Pearl of Africa or in the Smiling Coast. Be that as it may, ladies and gentlemen, we are actually running behind time. And so without further ado, I will call on Honorable Justice David Mukumbi, the High Court of Uganda, Kampala.
Can I have order, please? I'm accustomed to an environment where if I don't get silence, I will have to hold some people in contempt. I would hate to finish this evening by detaining a few people here. So kindly give me your attention for a few minutes. Our hosts, the Ombudsman of Botswana, the distinguished guests who are gathered here, heads of Ombudsman institutions, the organizers, GMSI, I stand on all the protocol that has been established, and I want to express my sincere appreciation, mostly because I am something of an outlier coming to this occasion. I'm not coming as an ombudsman, I'm coming more as somebody who has been in the ombudsman community but still has a very strong connection and feeling towards ombudsman work. I'm very grateful to the organizers, the Ombudsman of Botswana, for extending the invitation to me. I took it important enough that I sought leave from my Chief Justice to come and attend this function because I believe that the work of the Ombudsman is indeed very critical. I can say with absolute confidence that even now, as a fairly new judicial officer, I'm finding that the experience I've had doing ombudsman work has been quite useful in terms of helping me, even in terms of doing my judicial work. I have had the benefit of having participated in the first Expo, and I can say without a doubt that the continuation of this practice is genuinely something that is worth the effort that goes into it, in as much as we come here and we exchange ideas, and these ideas go a long way to helping each and every one of us who are here in improving the participation, in improving the kind of delivery, the service delivery that we give to the people who are expecting the services from the Office of the Ombudsman. This cause that is to do with the Ombudsman, I believe, is important enough that I'm willing to go back home and even speak to my seniors and express to them that it is also important in judicial work to have an ombudsman desk, because judicial officers, just like everybody else, also have challenges. They also have stresses that they go through. Maybe on a lighter note, I would say that I long for an ombudsman in my country for the judiciary, for the simple reason that I really have a very hard time putting on robes and wigs in the tropical heat and climate that we live in. I've never understood the tradition, and yet it continues to be carried on. We really need an ombudsman to speak onto that issue and deliver us from that, that particular challenge. But beyond that, I'd like to say that having come and attended this expo, there were quite a few issues that came out which were very important, but a couple of issues stood out particularly for me. And I feel that we need to remember that the ombudsman offices in each and every one of our respective contexts and environments serve as more than just simply protectors for the people, But more importantly, the Ombudsman desks serve as a kind of safety valve for society. Even as we've been going through this particular expo, I've been speaking to the different delegates who have attended this expo, and some of us have been exchanging experiences on what has been going on in our respective countries. In some of our countries, we are aware that the young people are coming up and they are complaining about different things, you know, and it got me thinking that, you know, as much as these young people are complaining, and there is a tendency to think that, oh, they are making life difficult for everybody and they should be shut down. The question that kept going through my mind is that, are we paying attention? Are we listening to what they are saying? And are they reacting the way they are reacting simply because they don't really have an outlet to say the things that they want to be heard? So I believe that going forward, as far as this expo is concerned, we need to give a bit more thought and see how we can put our heads together to exchange ideas and brainstorm on some of the more topical issues that are going on within our respective contexts as countries. There will be some of us who have managed to succeed and move forward over some issues which other countries are still grappling with. And I believe that this fora is a very useful fora for the continued exchange of ideas in that particular context. The other thing that I also felt was quite important and deserved some bit of reflection came as a result of a comment that one of the presenters made. And this particular presenter was talking about the issue of how his staff normally bring him the difficult complainants, the ones who are considered to be the mental cases, and he is supposed to handle those particular complainants. And he made an interesting point in the sense that as I deal with these people who have these kinds of challenges, who looks after my mental health? And to me, I felt that that was quite important in the context that, do we think about the mental health of the staff of the Ombudsman Office? The Ombudsman Office is an office that absorbs a lot of negative energy. And when it comes to the question of absorbing that negative energy, we tend to think that, well, it's routine and it is the job, that's the kind of job we are supposed to do. But at the end of the day, you find that the people who are doing that job are human beings, and they come from different contexts, they come with their personal challenges, and they come to a workspace where they have to absorb other people's negative energy. So I would encourage each and every one of us here, particularly the heads of institution, to look more deeply and to have engagements and to share ideas on how we can help the staff to ensure a healthy mental environment for discharging the responsibilities of the Ombudsman Office. I really don't have a lot to say beyond that. I really want to express my gratitude to the organizers. I also want to extend a special vote of thanks also to Professor Ayeni and the GMSI team. In my particular context, the knowledge of Professor Ayeni goes as far back as 2001 or 2002, when Professor Ayeni first visited the Inspectorate of Government. At the time, I still had black hair. So that is just as far, that's how far back we go with Professor Ayeni. He has seen me evolve into this somewhat of an aged-looking kind of person. But one thing I would want to say about Professor Ayeni is that when he gets an idea going, he follows through. He really follows through with that idea. And it is through him that some of us have been really inspired to stick with the Ombudsman agenda. I credit him also with giving the Inspectorate of Government that the direction it needed to take, because as you've heard, the Inspectorate of Government has a very broad mandate. But Professor Ayeni has been very instrumental in helping us refine the discharge of the Ombudsman mandate at the Inspectorate of Government. So we are indeed very grateful to him in that regard. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for listening to me, and I wish you a pleasant evening.
Thank you, His Lordship. But there's one thing that His Lordship omitted to do while he was here, because I had thought that he would hold the people on the far end there to be in contempt. At this juncture, I will call on Nashir Abram, the Ombudsman of the University of Cape Town, to come over here and give us her reflections.
Short and sweet. Good evening, everyone. Dumelang. Dumelang. Thank you very much for this opportunity. All protocol observed. I've been asked to share a few words about my reflections, and without thinking about it too hard, I thought about what came to mind first. And that is that the connections I've made over the past few days were absolutely nothing short of amazing. I'm so honored to have met each and every one of you, not just the ombuds, but everyone else, the staff that helped put this together, the protocols that were absolutely amazing in making sure we were here on time, or not. And being an ombud for me has really given me a new perspective on how we treat one another. And it's pretty simple for me, like human beings. So I'll share with you very quickly part of my mantra every morning. You may recognize it. I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. I stand on the shoulders of giants in this room, and I thank you.
Without further delay, I will call on my good brother Steve Ongesuanya, who is the acting head of the Human Rights Unit from the Commonwealth Secretariat in London, England.
Good evening. Good evening. You know, I have the podium, so if I don't move forward, you won't close this event. So you better respond to my greetings. Good evening. I didn't get anything from this side. Good evening. Well, my job this evening is very simple. The eminent personalities that spoke earlier have said it all. So my job is to thank each and everyone here. The protocol's been established. We just want to thank, I don't know whether it's from the bottom of my heart or the other side. I want to thank the Ombudsman of the Republic of Botswana and his impeccable team. You know, the kind of strength I've seen demonstrated in these couple of days has been awesome. And I started wondering where this energy flowed from. And I've been told that it's been business as usual, that the Ombudsman office and his team are very dedicated, very energetic, you know, crop of individuals. And yes, you can go for it. It's allowed. I understand from my due diligence, which I've done, that even before this event started or commenced this week, that they had a big event even before this, for which they stood the ground as well. So, thank you, Ombudsman of the Republic of Malawi, and thank you to your team. I want to thank the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, who has been equally very much involved, particularly as it relates to our interest as Commonwealth Secretariat right here in Botswana. They have been very helpful. And of course, Professor Ayeni. Professor Ayeni, I happen to have participated in the first Ombuds Expo in Abuja. And I thought that was fantastic. But tonight, I confirm that this is even more fantastic and more excellent than what we had in Abuja. I thought the government of Nigeria came in full force in 2019. But I think the government of Botswana tripled whatever force and power that was displayed in 2019. The previous speaker had talked about, no, Prof, I know the danger, don't worry. The previous speaker talked about the resilience of Professor Ayeni. Professor Ayeni is a dogged thinker. He's a dogged man who lives in his own world sometimes. And when he's convinced, he's convinced. And I admire Professor Ayeni's humility. He's a very humble man. You know, humility is very scarce these days. Humility is a scarce commodity in our society these days. Everybody wants to act like a president. Everybody wants to be treated like a president. But this day and age, that is not necessary. What is necessary is your contribution to society. And that is where I told you I have the power. If I decide to keep you here till midnight, I can do that. So if you want to leave this stage early, you better cooperate. So humility is one virtue that you will find in the office of the ombudsman, because the ombudsman is accessible to the people. I mean, if you are not accessible to the people, you have no business being an ombudsman. If you want to feel like a president of a country, you have no business being an ombudsman, because it's a people-oriented process. So another remarkable thing I have found in this second expo is that of expanding the trail to oversight institutions, not just the ombudsman institution. So we have within us here the human rights commissions, regulatory bodies, and so on. And that has been a fantastic development. And I think that is helpful because it creates the network, you know, for all these institutions at the national level to be able to see a pathway of cooperation, which is actually needed because you are talking about the people, and the interests of the people will be what matters at the end of the day. Now, the sessions. Somebody talked about plenary and the sessions. I think that's a misconception somewhere. There's no plenary during the expert sessions. The group you saw in this room was just a session, was just an expert group, and the rest are all in different. So that has been conceptualized and delivered. Again, I want to make this point. The point I want to make right now is for us to think beyond tomorrow and next tomorrow. When is the third expo coming up? Somebody might say, well, it's too early, we have not finished. But you have to be ahead of the game. And which other country wants to compete with the experience we have had tonight? So it's something to think about. And I'm impressed that from some countries, apart from the ombudsman, you still had people from different segments of government that are here. So these are the kind of things you take back to the capital, take back to the country, and be able to speak to the authorities and say, hey, this is an expression of soft power. What Botswana has just demonstrated this week is an expression of soft power. You know, in the geopolitics of today, you have to, if you say you're not here, nobody will know you're here. And by the way, if you don't blow your trumpet, nobody's going to blow your trumpet for you. You have to say, I am here, this is what I can offer. And you see the world, come to you. And by the way, if you can do what others cannot do, you set yourself apart. And that's exactly what we experienced this week. And I want to thank the participants. There have been useful connections, network. But one thing that kept coming up has been the value of these oversight institutions at the national level. The value being that it enhances the democratic credentials of countries. And there's no doubt about that. And for those of us that work with the national institutions, for me, it's been a thinking moment, a reflective moment, to say, what can we do better to support these institutions, these valuable institutions? My dear friend and sister, Brooks, Alan Brooks, had talked about what an institution like Commonwealth can do to support ombudspersons, ombuds institutions that are threats, a risk of government intimidation. Whether organizations like ours can help to take them out for a breather. And I've had some conversation with her, but I think there's some value in that idea that institutions, organizations like the Commonwealth, the UN, can do more to support the oversight institutions, considering the critical and credible role they play in the consolidation of democracy in our countries. So I want to say once again, thank you. It's been a great moment. I've learned so much. And thank you, Professor Ayeni. Thank you, Ombudsman and team. Thank you, Malawi. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Steve. Thank you. You are right. Networking, 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 so that one learns from the other and one teaches the other. At this juncture, I will invite Professor Ayeni to come over here and tell us about the next item on the agenda.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. It's now in your interest to go silent and listen to me, because I got very special things for you. So if anybody makes noise, can you please let me find somebody to write the name of noisemakers? You know, I read something the other day. I was looking at Facebook, and this guy was saying Facebook, that it's been a long time that people have always hated him. That even when he was not in class, they will write his name as a noisemaker. You know, so I just warn you now, we cannot afford you not to be silent. Once again, Mr. the Ombudsman, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, and thanks so much for the reflection. And I thank all colleagues who have also said very kind words. The whole concept of the gala represents in essentially the graduation ceremony of the expo. It's not just where we say goodbye, it is also where essentially we graduate all those who have participated in the event. So this is also when you know whether you have performed well or not. So I just like to share a few quick announcements before we go on to the next item. My colleagues are working on the certificates. As we said at the beginning, every person that has attended this event, and we have been monitoring those who didn't, who are not very attentive in the sessions. Everyone is entitled to receive a certificate that acknowledges that you are part of the Second International Expo. So these certificates are about ready now. They are in the accreditation room, and when we finish, we would urge you to, we try and do it in an orderly manner. They are organizing them in alphabetical order. You can pick up yours, and of course there will be an envelope for you to take away. If you cannot do it tonight, it should still be possible. We can make arrangement for tomorrow or leave with the Office of the Ombudsman. The second thing, of course, is that we want to formally acknowledge all those who exhibited. The exhibition is the heart of this event. Unlike your normal conferences, your normal seminar, this whole expo is built around organizations exhibiting and showcasing what they have done. And we feel it is appropriate that we recognize everyone that has been able to participate here. We have made, I think the word is plaque. We have made plaque which for everyone to take away. Incidentally, all of those plaques are not ready. So we're going to try and make alternative arrangements to get to all those who have exhibited. But be that as it may, the Ombudsman will formally acknowledge everyone and the representative of every organization that was here. So that's essentially what we want to do with the award. We also want to urge you, please don't forget to complete those forms. We really do need to take the feedback. So I'm going to invite the Ombudsman. We will call the name of everyone, every organization that has exhibited. We want you to acknowledge them, and the Ombudsman, of course, will also do the same. Is that okay, ladies and gentlemen? Okay. If you don't want to be acknowledged, can you please raise up your hand and let me know? Huh? All right, thank you. All right. I understand the plaques are here now, so you should also be able to get your plaque. So if you just give us a few minutes while they bring them in, because it's going to be more complicated going by this list. So we bring the plaque, we call the organization, the representative will come here, and the Ombudsman will formally hand over to you. Is that okay, sir? All right, okay, I think they are coming with the plaque. Is there anyone that has any other ideas? Okay, you don't want to be acknowledged. Okay, can you please mark that gentleman? He doesn't want to be acknowledged. Yes, sir. All right, just give us 5 minutes. They are bringing them down. Oscar, can you ask them to come with whatever is there now? Yes, thank you. I also just, as a form of announcement, could I also just make another quick announcement? A number of people have asked us about the papers that were presented. What we will do is that over the course of the next 2 weeks, we will email to everyone all the papers that were presented and have been submitted to us. So please just make sure that you are in the database and we have your email. We also want you to know that in the next 1 month or so, we plan to pull everything that has happened in this event. Can you please keep quiet in that side? There used to be something they called, what is it? All right, they are now quiet. So we're going to put all the experience of this expo on the internet. So we expect that within a month, our colleagues will be able to upload all the videos. So you will still be able to see the entire event, what happened from day one to this very event, hopefully on YouTube. In fact, if you go on YouTube at the moment and you type International Ombuds Expo, you will find the last event. And we expect to do the same thing at there. And of course, you can always navigate that by visiting the International Ombuds Expo website.
Good evening, everyone. I trust all of us are now ready to retire to our respective homes. But before we do that, ladies and gentlemen, as introduced, my names are Moffat Arlubinda, the Deputy Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Justice. I'm standing here on behalf of my Permanent Secretary, Ms. Stella Moroka, who is away on official duties. As it has been said, the journey that you started here on the 29th of July is coming to an end tonight. And as we talk about the end of the journey, let's have regard to what the scripture would say and recall one account in the book of Matthew 17:1 and 3. In that account, we read as follows. After some time, Jesus took Peter, James, and John, his brother, and led them up on a high mountain by themselves. And he was transfigured before them. His face shone like the sun, and his clothes became as white as light. And behold, Moses and Elijah appeared to them, talking with him. Then it happened as they were parting from him that Peter said to Jesus, Master, it is good for us to be here, and let us make 3 tabernacles, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah, not knowing what he said. This account speaks about an experience that the 3 disciples of the Lord had on the mountaintop, where they saw something unimaginable, something that the rabbinical school would not have taught them. They came, they saw, and they learned. And scripture would say when Peter saw the 2 men that joined Jesus, he says to Jesus, let us build tabernacles here. In other words, let us not go back to where we were before. But tonight, as we say, is our last night in this place, and we have to have our bags packed and return to our homes. The experience may have been good. The lessons may have been wonderful. We may have learned new things that we feel has added to our lives. But all in all, this has to come to an end, and we cannot remain in this place forever. We cannot build tabernacles here. We have to go back home, back to our respective institutions. We have to go back to improve and enhance what we do with what knowledge and lessons we have gleaned from the second International Ombuds Expo 2024. I can only thank you for all your attendance and participation, for the things you have seen, heard, and experienced. Without you, the Expo would not have been a success. And I appreciate that as members of AOMA, NENRI, IOA, IOI, you did it for yourselves. Though the above notwithstanding, I have to recognize that you had to allocate time away from your important mandates and resources to come to this expo. And for that, we are grateful as Ombudsman Botswana and the nation as a whole. The same sentiments apply to all other participating entities. It is my sincere belief that the knowledge sharing as well as outcomes will have the desired effects on your various institutions. Thank you very much, Second International Ombuds Expo 2024 participants in your various capacities. And with that, I say Pula and thank you. Great night, safe journeys back home. Have a wonderful time. It has been good. The Lord be with you.
Thank you very much, Deputy Permanent Secretary. At this point in time, I'll call on Professor Ayeni to come and give us a vote of thanks. Prof.
Ladies and gentlemen, I know it's very late now, so we really do need to go away. But I think it's appropriate before we go that we say thank you. The Ombudsman has already said thank you, but I was given the responsibility to say thank you on behalf of everyone. This project is a Hydra-headed project, and there are a whole range of people across the world that we are obliged to. I cannot possibly name all of them, but I think it's just appropriate I mention a few that are very important. But obviously, can I have silence, please? Hello? But obviously, I think anybody that has come to this event will appreciate how mind-blowing it has been. Botswana has put up a spectacular show. And I think, again, on your behalf, can we give Botswana a big round of applause? We never thought, we know that they have diamonds, and that's something that many of us are jealous of. But we didn't know that they could put up such a show. So we really thank you, Ombudsman. It's a difficult call taking on this project. It's very difficult. And when we took it on, I don't think the Ombudsman himself appreciated how difficult it can be. But we pulled it through, and we could not have done that without the partnership that made it possible. So I also want to, again, reiterate the gratitude to Madame Dudu Lenai. Madame Dudu, you're talking, can you? Yes. Madame Dudu was the chairperson, and quite a number of you would have received some of the letters that she sent out, particularly the reminders as well as the pioneers. So, Madame Dudu, we thank you very, very much. We also know that you've done some of the work, often sometimes at personal strain to yourself. Botswana is gifted with adorable ladies. I know all the young men here appreciate that, but I can tell you that they are not only beautiful ladies, but they are also outstanding and hardworking ladies. So there's a long list of ladies. I just cannot finish that. And I just want to say, from the ladies who are there making all the noise, hey, can you guys who are making noise there, can you listen? You know, those ladies who are there, they are part of the team that made this possible. There are quite a lot of them outside there, you know. And then one of the interesting things about Botswana, and Stephen would appreciate, the ladies sometimes overshadow all the men. So we have a lot of ladies who were working with us. We had a few gentlemen, you know, and when I couldn't pronounce their names, I named them names that I like. So there's a guy I called Nations, there was States, then there's the Douglas. Those are the few gentlemen I can remember off my head, but there were quite a number of gentlemen who supported all the ladies, Dimple, Catherine, who I'm intending to take to our village. You know, what's her name? There's Lebo. Where is Lebo? Lebo, all of you who came on immigration. There's Pretty. Yeah, that's Lebo. There's Pretty. She dealt with the hotels. So if you had hotel accommodation, there's this pretty lady who is called Pretty. She was behind it. And then there's the gentleman, Letoko Nono. Did I call that name right? He's in charge of transport, and I think he also did some outstanding work. The technology here, the expo is based on technology, and I really cannot but thank the vendors who provided the technological support to this event. But in addition to that, if I lift out your name, it's not because I have in any way underestimated it. It's just at my age, it's not everything that comes to my head at this time, you know. But I really want to thank the Botswana team and the outstanding group of people they pulled from the other department. For those of you who do not know it, what Botswana did was to pull people from other departments of government, and they have worked together with the Ombudsman Office. So we're extremely grateful to you. We thank you for giving us such an outstanding experience, and I know for all of us, this will remain, you know, eternal memory. But having said that, I thought it's just also appropriate I mentioned as well the partners. The partners supported us in various ways, not necessarily with money. They inspired us, they gave us support, and our partners, as you know, cut across the world. And we are so proud. With Zetu is not here, you will pass my regards to Eileen Miller of the International Ombudsman Association. We had the president of IOI, the president of ILO, the president of the Caribbean Association, and of course also the Caribbean. So I think again off my head, those ones are the ones I can remember. All our partners, national and international, we are very grateful. I should not forget, while we were running the expo, we were running some parallel projects of campaign in a number of countries. One of the key ones was Nigeria. And the gentleman has now left. The public service reform led by Mr. Arabi as well as, and supported by Mr. Egbe were very instrumental in pulling the Nigerian participation. So again, I want to extend gratitude to them for what they did. I thank the speakers and the moderators. For all of you do know, we do not pay honorarium to anyone. So the speakers took up the challenge of doing papers for nothing. And we really are grateful to all of you. We are grateful to all the moderators who supported and decided to take on the task without telling us. There's another small group of people who we call the minders. They were supporting the moderators, and again, I say thank you to them. We thank the exhibitors, because without the exhibitors, this event would not have happened. I also want to thank Grand Palm, the management of Grand Palm, for giving us that and supporting and creating that environment for us to do the opening ceremony. We thank Fairground. Fairground, as you know, has put all of this, provided all the catering, provided the venue. I hope they are here. We want to also thank them very much. Finally, there are a range of vendors that were used in the media and in so many other sectors. I want to also say thank you. But ladies and gentlemen, can I just plead for 1 minute of silence? I want to pay tribute to the people who work with me. GMSI, we're a small firm in London. But all the people who work with me, I can tell you, they work essentially part-time. And I can tell you that we're able to pull this together with just about 4 people who are working part-time with myself. So I thank Tunde. Tunde, they've been outside there working. Tunde, Mel, Nikki, as well as our colleague Sibulelu, who has come from South Africa. I thank that team, as well as my team in Nigeria, because also I have a small team that work to support our event. So if I have left anyone out, just take that is my age problem. But having said that, I really am grateful, and we're grateful for all of you for having come in here. As Steve said, we have to think of the next expo. So we're again using this opportunity to invite interest. So if you think you can do the next expo, not necessarily as spectacular as Botswana did it, but we really would like to be able to speak with you. So again, on behalf of the organizers, on behalf of everyone, I thank you all for coming. We wish you all journey mercies back to your different places. And as we have said earlier, we will remain in touch with you through the information we have gathered on the database. Thank you very much, and have a good evening.
Thank you very much, Prof. You said it is late now, but in the program, it appears there is entertainment. Ezra Nethlins, you can do your part, as some people... Right. I think they have been waiting for you, sir. They have been waiting for you. There you go. And before Neslin does his thing, when he is done, let me say to you, it has been a pleasure for me to have been your program director, and thank you very much.
I want you to get up on your feet and come closer if you can. I say, dango, 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 aye. Dango, 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 aye. Dango, 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 aye. I say dango, aye. Dango, 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 aye. Aya, shabadada. Aye, shabadada. Aye, I say dango, 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 aye. Dango, 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 aye. Dango, 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 aye. I say dango, I say dango, aye. Listen. So the story that I in my life, yeah, Ramazegi, I can't hold let's say, on some cloud, the dear Gargalibo. Gilibala, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Gotta get it, boy. Yeah. Big things you could do in my life, I see. Small things, so versatile, me can't. Let me hear you say. Big things you could do in my life, I see. You could do in my life. Small things, so versatile, me can't. So versatile, yeah. Dango, ah. Dango, ah. Dango, ah. I say dango, I say dango, ah. I say dango, ah. Como sapelule mai good like a rapella, one kuka. Bonus alese di mozeleng agazama yang ah. Big things you could do in my life, I see. Small things, so versatile, me can't. Let me hear you say. Big things you could do in my life, I see. You could do in my life. Small things, so versatile, me can't. So versatile, yeah. Dango, ah. Dango, ah. Dango, ah. I say dango. I say dango, I say dango, I say dango, I dango, I dango, I dango, I say dango, I say dango, I say dango, I say dango, Shibada papa da di de. La 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 la. Hey. Kopele masoro. Shabada kopele masoro. Yeah. Kopele masoro. Segede skanchala setsa awubona kikhona. You don't tell me listen. Skanchala setsa awubona kikhona. You don't tell me listen. Yeah. Skanchala setsa awubona kifenya. Say kopele masoro. Yeah. Kopele matsoro. Hey! Skanchala setsa awubona kikhona. Kopele matsoro. Skanchala setsa awubona kikhona. Hey! Kopele matsoro. Yeah. Kopele matsoro. Hey! Kopele matsoro. Scan concluda. Shabada papa. Scan concluda. Yeah. Scan concluda. Solo que se mabala sieta. Arba se bona basini disam. Ka isankaili. Murata mala uratide khongana ili kunana okati ka le sola le mojoro ngawzi ara katsamu wese okati Dale sola, le mojoro, ngawzi ara, katsamu, oiseo, ba bina tomo tontile, bare baja, baruralele, Bare baja, renewe dikota, rona masiela, ruta wukuku. Ba binato to kile, bare baja, barurale. Bare baja, renewe dikota, rona masiela, ruta wukuku. Hoka twin. Kale sola le mojoro ngausi ara kasamu oise o katwin kale sola le mojoro ngausi ara kasamu Kale sola le mojoro ngausi ara katsamu oise
Are go ka tweng se go ka thusa se ka letsogo he le mogorong ka sikara ka tswa mo dipoise are go ka tweng se go ka tsika tso Sam dam dam di da limokoro ngauzi gara neba nabepe katswa mo di poise. Thank you.